No, You Get Out MoFo by W.M. Cuppernell, Barking Dog, Dark Moon Press, former Green Beret takes on Demon from Hell. Please like, share, and subscribe. When darkness creeps and fear runs deep and spirits and shadows rule the night, when every ounce of instinct makes you shake with fright, turn to a place where your fears are replaced with the hunger to know what went on. Turn to Barking Dog, Dark Moon, the true darkness before the dawn. Based on a true story, Chapter 1, Paranormal Rambo. The house had sat empty, all but abandoned, for years, almost a decade, just outside Fort D.A. Russell, Cheyenne, Wyoming, established in 1867, named for Civil War General David Russell, one of the oldest continually active military bases in the continental United States. Logan Riggs, former Green Beret Staff Sergeant of the 5th Special Forces Group, Airborne, serving 3 tours operating in remote, brutal conditions from Nha Trang to Bien Hoa, had seen it all. Brutality on an epic scale, countless missions running counter-guerrilla operations with Montagnard forces, and clandestine missions along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Now medically retired after being shot 6 times, stabbed once, and kept in torturous conditions as a prisoner of war for over 6 months in various camps, he carried the residue of malaria, dengue, yellow fever, and an almost habitual case of jungle rot. His dreams of a long military career were clearly over. His body, though seemingly superhuman in what it had already come through, was brought to forced retirement by one lone event. It happened in April 1975. After surviving 3 tours of combat and guerrilla warfare, he was one of a few select Green Beret operators assigned to Operation Frequent Wind, the evacuation of Saigon, when, for the 4th time, one of the many helicopters he had flown in took enemy fire and crashed. This last time into the Mekong Delta. All survived, but Logan's legs were crushed. His lower spine was injured. Discharged, he was told he would never walk again. Logan would never accept this. Extremely profane, never hesitating to tell anybody and anything to fuck off, and including women and children. Extremely confrontational and aggressive, he had forced many of the medical personnel of the Veterans Hospital to go on stress leave. A few who had seen combat missions themselves stated they would rather return to Vietnam than face one medical visit with Logan Riggs. Logan had absolutely no filter and was not beyond calling medical personnel, from receptionists to doctors, even the director of the hospital, sissies, pussies, or sick call rangers. All were sick of it. The huge VA complex in Cheyenne, Wyoming, spanned over 50 acres, facilitating veterans across 3 states. Of the 25,000 patients in rotation, Logan Riggs was the worst. 100% disabled war hero. Silver Star, Bronze Star, even the Distinguished Service Cross, just one notch below the Medal of Honor. All knew to rebuke this guy, and his antics would seem to be like spitting in the face of George Washington himself. He was assigned a caregiver and all but banned from the hospital, extricated to his former area of Cheyenne, the notorious Logan Avenue. Though a coincidence, he had always been given static about the irony of the name, as if he or the street was the senior or the junior. After 3 weeks there, Logan, refusing all help, always insisting on being independent, told his caregiver or visiting nurse to fuck off, and made his way to the grocery store or the Loaf and Jug, where he would gladly take on all comers, even in a wheelchair, sending one assailant per week to the emergency room. It got so bad that he needed to move. With his VA disability status, he had ample salary and could easily afford to relocate to a better part of town. Though having some means, he looked for a home in the Capital North Historic District. Within a few weeks, he came across a beautiful brick Victorian home, miraculously priced well below the other homes, dating from 1877, not far from the state capitol. Perfect if he ever wanted to wheel himself down the street and yell at the governor. The area was very attractive, tree-lined and rich with history dating back to its frontier days, where Fort D.A. Russell, now Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, established in 1867 to protect the Union Pacific Railroad, had been continually operated and had seen more than its share of battles, from Indians to cowboy gunslinger days. He was driven past the home, which was kept perfectly manicured, a beautiful brick 2-story built in 1877. It appeared ready. He was shocked how it was priced so low and how it remained on the market. He noted several entrances where a wheelchair ramp could be built, allowing him to enter the home with ease. For 10-plus years, he had been living in sparse conditions, some which would make a slum resident cry. He was ready for an upgrade. He called the real estate company and inquired about the home. They were receptive, but when he advised them of the address, the agent went silent and tried to dissuade him. Mr. Riggs, the agent said after 10 seconds of silence, we have several lovely properties that also may gain your interest. They are all fair priced for the historic district. I would love to show you one of those homes. Hey, Logan, perplexed by the misdirection, said directly, I'm sure you do, but I'm locked onto this home. I don't want to see any other properties. I have a home I'm interested in, and I would like to see the inside if I may. He was unusually civil, but his old shrapnel wounds began to flare up, and irritation followed. The agent exhaled like a scoff. Trust me, Mr. Riggs, you do not want that property. No one on earth would. That property should be torn down, and the Pope himself should come and exorcise the grounds. It would have been torn down if those idiots at the Historic Society didn't demand that we preserve it. That place is a symbol of hell on this earth. Just having it in our town is blasphemous. Logan's back pain returned. Patience thinned. Hell? What the fuck are you talking about, man? I have seen hell. 3 tours of Vietnam, 6 months in a hellish POW camp where my only friend was a leech. If that beautiful Victorian home is hell, I can't wait to see heaven. Thank you for your service, the agent replied, strained. We have several VA-approved properties in Capital North, more worthy of a veteran of your distinguished service. Let's arrange a meeting. Are you free tomorrow afternoon? I've got a Victorian, just hit the market. Gorgeous, fair price. Reverting to his staff sergeant days, Logan could not believe what he was hearing. When he wanted something, whether taking a hill or escaping a POW camp, he made it happen. He was not going to allow some pussy real estate agent to come between him and his new home. Just what the fuck is your problem, dude? Logan said, voice like a command. I don't want to see any other fucking property. I'm mean and I'm tired. I have put more people into the ground than cancer. I told you what property I'm interested in. I don't want your bullshit misdirection so you can get a higher commission. It's not for sale, the agent snapped. The market says it is, Logan answered. You already lost one war, Mr. Riggs, the agent blurted. Why start another you cannot possibly win? And former Staff Sergeant Riggs lost it. Lost? Lost, he screamed. I never lost one fucking battle, boy. You have no idea who you're tangling with now. Either did the VC. He paused. Self-aware, he was screaming, tried to count to 10 as he was taught. Quit after 2. We never lost, you ignorant motherfucker. It was the fucked up politicians and the peacenik hippies that lost. Not us soldiers, not my unit. We kicked ass and took names. If you want to be on the list, keep it up, Dippy. The agent, aghast, realized he'd poked a bear that could maul him. He changed direction. I'm sorry, Mr. Riggs, he said, and explained the house's history from its inception as the home of the Fort Commander in 1877 through tragedies that spanned the 19th and 20th centuries. Then, in 1960, a couple purchased it. They seemed the perfect family unit, 3 kids and a dog, only to discover they were a probing unit of a bloodletting satanic cult that recruited and systematically sacrificed 5 people before being discovered. The father murdered everyone in the home before taking his own life. Logan was unmoved. His feelings had long been neutered by war. He had no superstition whatsoever. So what's the problem, he asked, desensitized to death. What would steer 99% of people clear only made him shrug. The house is cursed, the agent said. Every buyer, 3 in the past 10 years, has not lasted over a week. It's haunted as hell. I was not a believer until I experienced it. I was pushed down the stairs by some unseen force and broke my leg. Every owner claimed they had to flee for their lives and suddenly put the house up for a short sale. Smells, whispered voices, possession stories, all documented. A prominent paranormal team I allowed to spend a night fled at 3 a.m. in terror. Called it the most terrifying experience of their lives. You may want to look elsewhere. Why? Logan said. They sound more like paranormal pussies than investigators, so I'm not going near that home, Mr. Riggs. Either is anyone on my team. You want to tour the home, I'll give you the key. Come by tomorrow. But I'd suggest holy water, a priest, and a blessing to contain evil spirits. Say, Logan grabbed his whiskey bottle, took an exceptionally long swig. Evil spirits? He laughed. Fuck your blessing. I eat evil spirits for breakfast, or at least swallow them as I'm doing now. Yes, another long drink. Just have the key ready, Frady Cat. Anyone or anything that wants to war against me, heaven or hell, will regret it until their dying day, even if they're already dead. Are you on my frequency, you shit-talking maggot? The next day the agent contemplated calling in, but remembering Logan Riggs' verbal assault, He went to work, smiling to himself. If this grisly old veteran thought Vietnam was frightening, wait till he spent time in the home. He anticipated Logan would be so scared an apology would be forthcoming. Not one prior family made it a month. If Logan insisted on buying, he would be no different. Arriving at 8 a.m., he noticed a blue 1970 Dodge Challenger with a bumper sticker that read "Death from above" or "Blow from below." Kill 'em all. A unit sticker said 5th Special Forces Group with crossed arrows and the motto "Deo Presso Liber." He had no idea what it meant, but he was sure the owner must be the pleasant Logan Riggs. He noticed a muscular, heavily bearded man in a green Army field jacket with patches that, on inspection, looked like campaigns he must have participated in. The agent knew things had gotten off to a rough start. He fixed a grin and approached, arm extended. He was met with a cold stare, as if charging a fortified position. About an arm's length away, he was suddenly stiff-armed by an impossibly strong hand. "Hold on there, dipwad," Logan growled. "Do not enter my kill zone. You enter my space, and I will assume you're the VC here to take my scalp." Nearly knocked over into Logan's waiting fist, the agent straightened his tie, kept his distance, tried again. Logan cut him off. He came for the key. No niceties. The agent looked into the dark eyes of a man with a distant stare and iron determination. Not worth his continued existence to argue. He fetched the key. He didn't even think to question how this lone man in a wheelchair would hoist himself to tour the home, but one look at that face beyond its ferocity shouted one thing: true grit, and Logan Riggs had it in spades. Chapter 2, Force on Force. The house, though having 3 owners across the last 15 years, had sat empty for 5. The grounds were maintained, periodic cleaning crews were brought in, but all fled in terror after a couple of hours. Logan's souped-up ride, the 1975 Challenger, outfitted to ease his handicap, sped down the street, exceeding the limit. Logan was not a disbeliever in the paranormal. He was indifferent and unfearful. Surviving numerous unsurvivable situations had made him numb to adversity. The whole area of Capitol North has beautiful tree-lined streets, single-family homes intermixed with historic houses, many dating back to territorial days. Pulling into the driveway, Logan had squandered any assistance provided by the government, nurses, caregivers, by his sarcasm and insistence on doing everything on his own, having told nursing staff to go to hell, and offered one caregiver a one-way trip through the plate glass window. He was on his own, exactly the way he liked it. Without wheelchair ramps, he would soldier up, reverting to crutches. Though partially paralyzed in his legs, he had the upper body of an Olympic bodybuilder. He could easily hoist himself with 2 incredibly strong arms and walk with arm strength alone, his feet and legs elevated and never touching the ground. Relishing the challenge, he got out of the car, grabbed the one lone crutch he kept there, and hopped to the trunk. He opened it and pulled out 2 more wooden, ultra-tough underarm crutches. A sharp, about face, he moved in, almost as if on the drill field, his head and eyes straight to the front, arms following the military left-right-left rhythmic cadence. The crutch tips, swapped for driving in his heels, echoed off the 2-story home's walls. Negotiating the porch steps, he looked at the Victorian before him, admiring its beauty. 2-story painted forest green with brown trim, a rooster wind vane on top. 2 fortress-looking rooms on opposite sides offered scenic locations to write his memoirs. Despite the town's flatness where one could see for miles, to the south one could make out the Capitol building if on the street. However, the residents had tall lodgepole pines and aspens, creating a feeling of forest-like isolation. It was a corner lot. Neighbors were not to his left or right, but 200 yards up the road. At the large wooden door he had noted on drive-bys, he could finally touch it. Rugged oak carpentry, likely original. He admired the base, the handle, the blue-tinted sky-like stained glass. Then a strange tingling. The tiny hairs on his neck rose, as if an electric surge hit his body. He recognized it at once. He hadn't felt it in years. It was always a precursor to danger, a warning before an ambush or a booby trap. Unlike previous times, he dismissed it. He took out the key. The keyhole seemed rusted from lack of use, but the lock turned and the door opened to reveal the house in its raw form. A gust of cold air hit his face and beard with the force of a 30-mile-an-hour gust. Usually ready for anything, it briefly surprised him before he shrugged and stepped into the entryway. With no lights, he reached into his tiger-striped cargo pants for a flashlight. The beam illuminated the airy space. Again, the exquisite architecture took him. The staircase, the fireplace, so carefully crafted they must have been the work of a 19th century artist. The furnishings, though heavily dusty, showed the previous owner's exceptional taste. Cobwebs strewn everywhere gave an Addams Family vibe. The look made him smile. He'd gotten hooked on the series during a break from combat duty in 1966. In early 1967, he turned toward the staircase, made a forward swing pump movement while singing the Addams Family intro, stopping every few feet to snap his fingers in spirit of the tune. Ascending the third step, arms pulsating, biceps bulging, his upper body easily bore his 180-pound frame. A distinctive loud growl and what seemed like a 5-0 earthquake shook the home. Logan, indifferent, acknowledged the manor's reputation as haunted was evidently true. Though revolted by mindless bravado, former Staff Sergeant Logan Riggs could not mask his own. It resonated from every pore. Not mindless, but the man he was today. The growl sounded like some hound from hell. Logan, uncompassionate, faced an unknown enemy. Trained in the Spartan tradition of warfare, he adopted the sarcasm of that elite warrior class. Unimpressed and confident, he could neutralize anything natural or supernatural. He would take on all challenges and humiliate them in turn. "You'll have to do better than that, pussy," he shouted, moving up 3 more steps. The demon terrorizing mankind from the beginning blurted, "What?" And surprised, for over 10,000 years it had never witnessed such bravery. All previous targets fled in terror. This one was walking up the stairs as if on a guided tour. With grit and determination, Logan continued admiring the structure. He looked down periodically, viewing the parlor from above. Winded at the top, he smiled. A huge chandelier, crystal over 1,000 pounds, hung past the staircase center. Candle-like fixtures, icicle patterns, cobwebs, and bats flying from it furthered the Addams Munster vibe. Clearly an original feature, 1870s or earlier, it could fit among Europe's high castles. He turned left and continued down the narrow corridor to the master bedroom and bath. The hair on his neck stood firm. Unperturbed by growling, shaking, and cold, he saw his breath in the August air when his flashlight cut through or light peered the old panes. He knew this was once a murder house, a home where the devil was not cast out but welcomed. He could not take caution. He had sent too many souls to their destinations. He felt he had spiritual capital. The demon configured another strike, opening and slamming doors along both wings. Loud bangs echoed as if doors would come off hinges. It did not frighten Logan. If he felt anything, it was slight anger. Insulted, this would scare him off. Never one to mince words, he chose profane sarcasm. "Oh my," he said in a high, scared child voice, laughing. "Wow, look at you. You can open and slam doors just like my bitch ex-wife can. Casper is more scary than your bitch ass." The door stopped. Quiet. He toured each room and open space. Feeling momentum, he kept jeering. "You really had me at the slamming doors thing. That's almost enough to scare a 3-year-old girl. I wish you were alive right now so I could frag your pussy ass, no good, worthless, door-slamming maggot." The force, surely from Hades, seemed unsure. Needed to call a friend. Satisfied he'd seen it all, he pictured himself reading by the stone fireplace. Turning back down the stairs, 6 steps from the bottom, he was launched forward by a tremendous push. Unable to break his fall, legs useless, he crashed onto the wood, barely missing his head on the last step. Otherwise unhurt, he crawled to his crutches, rose, and stood. Fighting the urge to charge back up, he grinned at the landing, moved to the railing, and looked up. Defiant, 1,000-yard stare, fists clenched. "You hear me, you son of a bitch?" he roared into the quiet. "Listen to me. You just fucked with the wrong guy. I'm going to fucking buy this place, and the first thing I'm going to toss out is your freeloading ass." He turned and headed for the door. Sold, demon included. A solid deal. 3, Sweet Home, Possessed Home. Back at the real estate office, Logan was smiling and seething from being pushed. He wanted payback. The agent was surprised he returned in one piece. His disheveled appearance suggested an encounter with the current inhabitant. The agent made arrangements for a quick sale. The owner, having no takers, was elated someone was foolhardy enough to take on this piece of hell on earth. They let the house go, tens of thousands less than an undisturbed property. Logan called old buddies from the 5th Special Forces Group. 6 agreed to fly in for the housewarming. He hired movers and a renovation company. He knew he was going into a fight, but for all his training and tactical experience in this arena, he was unskilled. For weeks, the renovation team restored the property to pristine condition. The ghost or demon or whatever had propelled him down the stairs never appeared. Logan sensed an ambush, but the presence never showed. Movers disturbed every part of the home. In a couple of days, the ex-Green Beret was ready for his first night in his palace. Demon be damned. Logan insisted on the upstairs master. The construction crew, honoring his service, offered a stair lift at no cost, even an elevator at minimal expense. Too hardcore to accept, he waved it off. He'd hump the stairs like a grunt. For 3 days, no disturbance. He sparsely decorated. Several animals he'd killed were mounted near the fireplace mantel. Never one to care about medals. He framed only 3 items: his combat infantryman badge, the ranger tab, and the Green Beret patch. He even contemplated using his medals as fishing lures at Sloan Lake, but didn't want the fish charged with stolen valor. After 3 days of quiet, even Logan, survivor of countless missions in enemy territory, almost doubted what he'd experienced. He liked nothing better than tearing apart and reassembling his Colt. 45 to relax. He carried it during all 3 tours. It saved his life many times. Worth little at a pawn shop, its sentimental value equaled all his possessions, including the new house. At 2:55 a.m., he noted the time. Some of his surviving A-team were flying in for the housewarming next week. Years since he'd seen any of them since being wounded in 1975. It would be a great couple of days drinking truths and lies, drunken reenactments in the backyard. At exactly 3 a.m., as he began turning off lights to ascend the stairs, the whole house shook violently, as if on the San Andreas fault. Curious, not frightened, he wondered if it was a meteor or a power plant explosion. Then the door slamming began again, and a clear, loud, disembodied baritone, almost a growl, said, "Get out." Weapon assembled, he chambered around and went to full readiness. "Get out?" Logan said, mocking. "Get out? Why the hell should I get out? You get out? You non-living, no-body freeloader. I just got here, asshole. Your pussy slamming doors bullshit scares me as much as a child throwing a temper tantrum." A loud gasp exasperated, then the Victorian shook aggressively. The water buffalo head mounted above the fireplace came crashing down, nearly hitting him. That further incensed him, an attempt on his life, and the buffalo had great sentimental value, his first kill in Vietnam. It charged him crossing a rice paddy, unsure what to do. He took his M14 off his shoulder and emptied a full magazine toward the beast that had once threatened him. The memory blended with the present. Now he snapped to the stairs and emptied the clip toward the top. The unseen presence, shocked at his violent reaction, giggled, mocking, further infuriating the veteran. Logan, always ready, slammed in another magazine and went on offense. The demon killed all lights. Then, as if rewinding to the massacre days, dreamlike imagery, a river of blood flowing from the top of the stairs to the ground level, enough to flood the home top to bottom. Logan, having seen more than his fair share of the body's vintage, scowled as if a grocery item was missing from the shelf. A red beaming light, then a demon-like presence, horns, reddish-yellow eyes, long fangs like a vampire. Logan feigned a yawn. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I didn't know it was that time of the month. Let me get my keys and we'll head to the store for some maxi pads. Looks like you're having a very heavy flow." The demon, used to being the terrorizer, gaped. It had presented physical form. From Hercules to the bravest heroes, all would have run, but not this prey. He seemed to enjoy it. Frustrated, the demon moved to take control. Confident Logan was no man of faith, it assumed full possession, overtaking his defenses and trapping his soul. The demon smiled from inside Logan, but soon felt sickly. Like an exorcism, it felt incoherent, endangered. Had it misjudged Logan? Maybe he was a force of light. Retreating, it fled the body and hovered near the chandelier. Looking down, it noticed bottles, vodka, whiskey. The entity, wise across lifetimes, realized the answer instantly. Logan's blood overflowed with so much alcohol, it was too much for a non-human spirit possessing a body to handle. Even if called the devil's brew, it couldn't take the effects. Logan regained his faculties. He had never felt so much lack of control and paralysis. He wanted to settle the score, but not by brute force. Sending a demon back to hell felt like being soft on crime. Why should the thing that tried to kill him or control him be allowed to go home to its mother? Determined to fuck this thing up, he knew he needed help. To terrorize the terror, he needed a plan. A Green Beret follows the adage, know your enemy. He headed to the Wyoming State Library to pore over parapsychology and occult. Folklore and legends. He wanted to attack, pulverize, eliminate this new enemy. War had already been declared. Unsatisfied, holy water priest charms, none satisfying to a warrior on the hunt. He called every psychic in Wyoming. None had a method to kill a demon. The next best thing, imprisonment. He would have this demon as his personal prisoner of war. He had an idea. A half-drunk Australian wine, 10 years old, found among the contents of his old army duffel. Sentimental. The last drink he shared with Captain Phillips before Phillips crashed into a mountain in Cambodia the next day. Having done his research, he went home to do battle. It was dark. Lamplights gave an aura of quiet contentment. Thunderclouds moved in. Lightning flashed as he pulled into the driveway. He was surprised the lights he was sure he'd turned off were now on in every corner, antagonizing him, as if the demon wanted to harm him financially. He reverted to an archaic tactic, frontal assault, never one to cry over unusable legs. He grabbed his crutches and by force of will made his way to the door. A waiting wheelchair inside. In the mood for war, he proceeded to the stairs to begin the offensive. "You hear me, you little pussy demon from hell?" he screamed. "I'm coming up there to fuck you up." Doors slammed. Lights flickered. Shaking his head at the weak response, he continued upward, crutch tips hitting each step with military precision. He needed to contain the demon to the top floor, so he taunted and challenged. "Yeah, real tough, aren't you, sissy boy? Slamming doors, turning off lights," he mocked. "I guess to become a demon, you first have to be a disgruntled woman." The demon, never taunted since the dawn of time, felt inadequate, unsure. It was incensed. Who the hell, no pun intended, did this mortal think he was? It thought of genocida. The demon assigned to the task from every cataclysmic death, from the Black Death to the Holocaust, now harassed by an everyday oath. The demon had been challenged. Its contempt for God and humanity too total to refuse, it would not even say the word human. When Logan reached the top, he was in full attack mode, going room to room, slamming doors, flipping switches. "See, little girl," he called snarky, opening and slamming the next door, laughing almost hysterically. "See, you demonic dick, I can slam doors too, and turn lights on and off. Oh, I'm so scary, but I don't have the guts to face a real man, 'cause I'm a loser like my dad, the devil." This incensed the demon. Not only was Logan insulting him, he was insulting its dad, disturbing as Stalin's death before a series of extrajudicial killings. It went to find this irritant and ensure the rodent reached the seventh layer before morning. The entity hunted its mark. Logan had returned to the master bedroom, downed more booze, and took out the old Australian bottle of Yellowtail Shiraz, confident a showdown was coming. 4. The final challenge. The demon was in the mood, flying the master suite doors wide open. Now in full form, huge, pissed that this peon human would challenge him, the officiator of the Black Plague, the instigator of the Spanish Inquisition, he came quickly upon Logan, who sat on the bed's edge, drinking, 45 in the other hand, growling. It closed within a foot, then stopped at arm's length, checked by the extended pistol. Surprised at himself, he paused, knowing no human weapon could hurt him. But looking into this veteran's eyes, grit and determination, he stopped. Hot, foul breath made Logan wince. Breath mint, he suggested. Genocida cared only for one scent, death. Logan had the idea the demon had an adversity to alcohol after the near possession. He'd felt it. Paralysis, then retreat. The cause was booze. This demon destroyed worlds, but couldn't handle drink. Holding the weapon, he reached under his pillow and pulled the old bottle of wine. "You see this pussy?" Logan said, voice full of contempt. 45 in one hand, wine bottle in the other. "I know you can't handle a little booze, 'cause you're such a weak piece of shit." The demon recoiled, then reached for Logan's throat. Logan blunted the attack, spilling some wine on the entity. It revolted, full recollection of possession with a blood alcohol level off the charts. Logan took another swig of whiskey. "I haven't seen this much weakness since grade school." Enraged, the demon lifted Logan 2 feet off the floor by the throat. Raspy, brimstone breath. "What did you say, sheep? Where were you when I killed 10 million in the Russian Revolution? Where were you during the Holocaust or Cambodia today?" As if you had any idea. Logan smiled while being choked. The smile gave an aura of enjoyment. The demon released him. Fearful, it was inspiring bliss, not fear. It loomed, terrifying, planning its next move. Logan regained color and breath, unfazed. Knowing the demon was subject to mocking and challenge, he held up the wine. "See there, little pussy," Logan said to Genocida, destroyer of worlds, now looking like a child with hurt feelings. "You do not scare me one damn bit. You couldn't even handle a little bit of booze. If you're so damn big and tough, put yourself in this bottle of Australian wine and prove you're not just a weak-ass lightweight." The hellspawn, unfamiliar with pussy and weak-ass bitch, but savvy enough to sense belittlement, burned with shame. Overwhelmed by a kind of first-time mockery, used to being only on offense, it needed momentum back. It growled at the ant. "You want to challenge me, sheep?" It raised itself again. The foul heat reminded Logan of a rice paddy south of the Aya Drang in 1969. He fought PTSD's echo. Despite aversion to firewater, the hoochmaker of hell smiled within him. The abomination smirked. Logan, zealous since losing movement in his legs, smiled back, radiant white grill. Without missing a beat, the wretch metamorphosed, so small it could fit inside the bottle. Logan watched the contents shrink. He leapt, grabbed a cork, and jammed it in. The scourge of perdition, lacking human anatomy, was nevertheless overwhelmed by the sauce. In a drunken stupor, the cork held it, trapped, awareness dulled. Holding the bottle firmly, Logan examined it under the light. The dark force was transparent, save for a pair of glowing eyes, reddened and inebriated, staring directly into those globes, despite their dullness. He wanted this evil to know who was in charge now. "You see, you little bitch, lightweight from hell," he smiled. "You're now my POW. I'm going to place your weak sauce pussy ass on my mantle. I'm going to spare humanity from the disgrace you are. For what would the history books say if the supposed creator of the Black Plague, the father of the Holocaust, the wrecker of worlds, was really nothing but a punk-ass, all-talk, no-action, low-life pussy motherfucker that couldn't outdrink a fourth grader?" Dark force firmly trapped, Logan placed the bottle in a special spot below his trophies, his supernatural souvenir. There would be no medal for this one, he realized, but perhaps a few points toward ascension in the afterlife, the end.